Are we live? It looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer Community Races. To my knowledge, we will be doing these about monthly. I am your host, Giga Otomia. With me on tracking, we have Sesokaira. And for those not aware yet, the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer, well, if you're not aware of what a randomizer is, it changes the locations of the items and possibly the overworld locations, the enemies, it changes the enemy stats, perhaps even their uh, resistances. And we're off. On the left, we have Typhoon playing as Sid, and on the right, we have Ultima playing as Benjamin, the default right. Doesn't look like there's much going on just yet. We do have Tristan as the partner and Steel Sword. We do find an Apollo helmet. That's good fire resistance. In this game, resistances are a flat 50% reduction to all incoming damage of that element. And stats effect resistances are not resistances, they're immunities. We've got a bit of a divergence here. Typhoon going to Foresta immediately, and Ultima choosing to take the battlefield for money. It is important to note that the color of a battlefield and the graphics of it will denote the reward you get from the battlefield. Green is money, gray is experience, and blue is an item. Looks like Typhoon has found the sand coin at some, and Ultima finds it as well in the old man's house in Forest, where you would normally find the cure book in vanilla. Stepping into another battlefield, the locations of battlefields, the locations of pretty much everything on the overworld is going to be randomized. The only parts that are not are going to be the Focus Tower and the Doom Castle. Browsing through the flags here, we do have the Doom Castle shortcut on. So when someone travels to the east, you'll see that bridge to the south of the entrance to the Focus Tower. That will lead directly into the Doom Castle. You do not need the ship, you do not need most of the regular Go mode items. Unfortunately, we do experience a game over on Typhoon's side, I believe. Let's look at the companions. We have quests extended. I don't think anyone's poked into the game info screen yet. So I am not quite sure what the quests are. But to explain Quest Extended, we do have information from Wildham. Tristan will be the only partner we see, and to level him up from level 7 to first 15, then 23. Is that right? 23 sounds right. And 32, then 40. Either 40 or 41. we have to defeat the Minotaur, collect 22 refreshers, clear 10 battlefields, and defeat Ghidra in any order. We do have the Aegis Shield. I believe that is petrification resist, as what I consider the most important. But it does have other resistances as well. I just do not know them off the top of my head. I would have to pull up my cheat sheet. Which I can do. Meanwhile, our runners milling about the volcano, they're grinding refreshers to level Tristram up. It's 22 that we need in total, so they will have to do this 8 times. That is, if they don't want to duplicate refreshers by going into battle and using the glitch that still exists and hopefully will continue to exist. To explain that, what you do is you go into battle, you select an item to use with Benjamin while your partner is in manual mode, and then on your partner's selection, you exit out and you run away from the battle. Even if that running away action doesn't work, the item that Benjamin chose to use is still queued up and treated as though you had already used one and canceled it. So it adds 1 to the total. I have not been paying attention to exactly how many refreshers they have, but the chest script will know when the players hit 22, for example. Alpha now has a level 15 Tristram. I don't think he gets any spells, even with extended spellbooks. No, he must. I just never play with Tristram. I'm a Kaylee enjoyer, as the community knows. So I don't know what his spells are, unfortunately. Both Tristrams are level 15. But it looks like Typhoon wants to grind Benjamin up from level 2, which is perfectly understandable. We also have attack randomizer going on. That means that the attacks that each enemy will use, I do not believe they would be so mean as to put in Dark King's attacks. Let me make sure of that. It is set to script shuffle. And I saw a bone missile, which means I'm assuming Medusa has the Flamerous Rex's script. And yes, Dark King is not included in this. So that means every enemy in the game, other than the final boss, the regular enemies, the mini-bosses, the main bosses, all of their scripts are just mixed around, toss them in a hat, pick one out for each one. We're getting a look into the Winfrey Temple, and there were no important chests in there. Chests in the randomizer will be marked as red. You've seen the red chests in this game, I'm sure. but they'll be red if they have an important item in them, and they'll be brown if they don't. A consumable is an example of an unimportant item. Ultima is taking the exit off of the volcano, top of the volcano, and Typhoon is trying out battlefields. And having a bit of luck, I believe. He did get Flare at some point. Flare being the most powerful spell in the game at 1,800 attack power. Unfortunately, these Ifrits, or I-Flights as I believe the game mistranslates them, they resist fire. So, yes, I-Flight. So even though Flare is the most powerful spell in the game, it may not instantly kill the Ifrits. We find the bomb and Ice Pyramid. The only thing locking you out of Ice Pyramid is the front gate and the... how do I put it? The cracked floor on floor 5. So finding a bomb here is really one of the best things you could think of. Do we have progressive... We do not have progressive gear on. So we may not have necessarily found the bomb first. We may have found the jumbo bomb or mega grenades, but we found the bomb. So it is what it is. You will notice that enemies in the Ice Pyramid are invisible. These are not random encounters. Enemies in Mystic Quest are always going to be in static positions. It's just that in the Ice Pyramid, you need the magic mirror in order to see them. So I will explain a little bit more about the flags here. We have Expert Logic, which means that items can be anywhere. There's no double dipping prevention implemented at the moment, and you are not required to have the coins be what transports you from continent to continent. You may be required to use the warp crests in order to go from one continent to another. NPCs are excluded. So no important items will ever be on any of the NPCs. Battlefields are prioritized, so and original chests are also prioritized. So both of those are going to be where our runners will want to go first. If they see a blue battlefield, they will want to check what's in it immediately. And if they can defeat it immediately, then all the better. Our enemy density today is set to 50%. Our experience scaling is the default of 2.5x. Enemy stat scaling is anywhere from 50% to 150%. Boss scaling is set to 100%. Just flat. Bosses are exactly as you expect them to be, other than their script. And the formations are strictly by region. So both of our runners are in the water continent, as I like to call it, which means they're fighting enemies that you would expect from the water continent, like the cockatrices, the mages, The freezer crab? Freezer crab. The snow crab is the boss version. And so on and so forth. If they were to travel to the Earth continent, they would find enemies from the beginning of the game, up through the Bone Dungeon. If they were to travel to the Wind continent, they would find enemies from the end of the game. It makes sense. At the moment, our runners are traveling up the ice pyramid. I do agree with this play. The ice pyramid is a high-density location. There's tons of chests here, so there's tons of places stuff could be. Unfortunately, what Typhoon had checked just now, all of it is brown boxes. We're not interested in brown boxes. There is one important item on the 4th floor. Let's see if there's anything more on the 5th. I was going to get you the actual resistances of the armor. I'll always start with the steel armor. That's just a flat 5 points of defense. No resistance. We also have the Aegis Shield. It resists paralysis, petrification, and the shoot element, believe it or not. And the Apollo Helm is fire and drain resistance. Now, drain is a little bit different from all the other damage types. If you resist drain, that means it is reversed. If you're familiar with some RPGs, undead mechanics, if you cast a drain spell on an undead enemy, it would damage the person who cast it. That's how drain resistance works. Typhoon going down to grab that important item. Let's see what it is after once he gets there. It is the Sun Coin. That will allow him access to the Wind Continent. Oh yes, that's right. The hole at the top of the ice pyramid that Ultima just blew open also requires the cat claw. Well, some type of claw, rather. Ultima also picking up the Sun Coin. The reason for that is because there's a climbable wall at the bottom of the ice pyramid, leading up to the second part of the 5th floor, where the ice golem sits. So that's 3 items you need to beat the ice pyramid. Any sword, any bomb, any claw. It appears Flare was in the volcano, and they found the fire book in the ice pyramid as well, but I don't expect anyone to actually cast fire, personally. Reason being, they already have Flare, and it's so much more powerful. It simply cannot compare. Or rather, fire simply cannot compare. We find Firebird just north of the lava dome on this frozen... that's silly. It's always silly when a volcano shows up in the ice continent. There are no chests in the top floor of the Fireberg Inn. You have a high five going on here. Ruben has been freed from his prison in his house. Temporarily, he'll be going back there. But he's going to go to the mine. How partners work is, since we are forced to only have one partner for this entire seed, and that partner is Tristan, the other partners, once we find them wherever they're going to stand, let me check if they are going to stand in places we don't expect. No, they are not. So Ruben will be in his house, as we saw. Phoebe will be in her house. I think. Yeah, that sounds right. Kaylee will be in her house, and you'll need the, well, I don't quite know what you need to get Kaylee moving, because Kaylee's mom fighting the Minotaur is turned on, and she's not in your party, and I have never experienced that. I guess we'll see. I should probably explain that as well. With the Kaylee's mom fighting Minotaur flag on, it does exactly that. We have Kaylee's mom fighting the Minotaur and doing all of Kaylee's original checks. I guess she just sits around at home then. I will have to pick this seed up after the stream and see what happens. Because I've genuinely never experienced that. I always set Kaylee to be my single sole partner. Anyways, Kaylee's mom will do all the checks. So you need the tree wither to get her moving into the level forest. Then after you defeat the Minotaur, you need to give her the elixir, and she will go to Windia and show up in the inn on the second floor. But as our stream crew is telling me, or reiterating rather, NPCs are excluded. So Kaylee, Phoebe, Ruben, they don't matter. Even Tristan. The items Tristan will give you, Tristan will still give you items when he's in your party. From the Bone Dungeon and the Fireberg Inn. Excuse me. They will not matter. We have Typhoon saving and checking out this battlefield with the water hags. If you're familiar with well, this is a romantic saga game. If you're familiar with Final Fantasy games, a Sahagin is typically an early game enemy. This is not an early game enemy. This is an end game. You'll notice in the lava dome, enemies may be colored like they're from the Firecon, but that is misleading. It's simply a property of the map. The NPC palettes have not been changed. Unfortunately, Typhoon does wipe to the water hags. What was that? Flame? Some multi-target fire attack. I did not catch the name of it. I imagine Flame Sweep. Don't have encyclopedic knowledge of the enemy scripts, so I don't know exactly which script that is. It's good that he finds the giant's axe, though, because that gives him access to chopping down trees and getting everything behind them. Meanwhile, Ultima found his Mega Grenades in the Lava Dome. And the Arrow Book. We have Typhoon going to the Falls Basin. Crabs are weak to axes. And with the strongest axe in his possession, this is clearly the best play. Unfortunately, he's out of wizard charges. The way magic works in this game, by the way, casting magic, MP. You get 3 pools of MP for both of your characters, and every spell costs 1 point from its individual pool. You have white spells, black spells, and wizard spells. White spells are almost all healing magic. You also have Exit, which is Exit. I may have to explain that one, but I'm not going to. And black and wizard spells are attacking magic of various elements. Got Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, just like the continents. Wizard magic is almost all straight up better than all the black magic. Thunder, which neither of our runners have at the moment, is the only wizard magic which is worse than any black magic. And Tresem has Quake. Quake is the worst spell in the game, and that is the Stone Golem script. I could tell from the stone block. Stone Golem being one of the boss refights in the boss rush. And the River Coin is on the Snow Crown. River Coin grants access to the Fire Continent. So Typhoon has access to every overworld location in the game except for the ship dock. And anything that is explicitly hidden behind the crests. Speaking of which, the Libra crest was in the Lava Dome, and Ultima does have it. The Libra crest with the symbol for Omega on it, the Greek letter Omega, will let you teleport by stepping onto any overworld tile that, well, I guess overworld is any in-game tile that has the Omega crest, or Omega symbol, the Libra crest, on it. Each warp is 2-way, and by which I mean there is no situation in the game where you can step on a warp, come out in a second place, step off of that warp, step back on it, and turn up in a third place. We find the multi-key in... I was wrong about Phoebe being in her house previously. She's in the Libra Temple. But we find the multi-key in the Libra Temple that opens up a check in Firebird, which we're probably not going to do because NPCs are excluded, remember. We also have the Noble Armor and Cupid Locket on Typhoon's side, and the Thunder Rock in the Windia Inn second floor. That will open up the Rainbow Bridge. By talking to Otto here, who complains about not being allowed, to use a trebuchet. I would have to wonder how that would look on Anson's. Typhoon is going around checking the crest warps, because they are randomized, I think. They are not randomized. I'm sorry. Crests are not shuffled. And Typhoon is unfortunately missing the Mega Grenades. So he cannot open up. He cannot blow the ocean out of Spencer's place and into the void that currently sits where the ocean would be. The Noble Armor resists ice, wind, and thunder elements. Well, thunder as an element is just the combination of ice and wind, so it technically just resists ice and wind. The Cupid Locket resists silence, confusion, and bligh. Silence, however, does not work in this game. I have brought it up with him a few times, and he says that he's not going to implement silence. Because that would just be a step too far. So any attack that tries to inflict silence, even if you're vulnerable to it, just does not work. It doesn't do anything. It plays an animation and wastes your time. That's it. Have another battlefield going on Ultima's side. I did not catch the color of the battlefield, but given that he's winning against witty enemies, it was a money battlefield. Ultima is not going to be feeling any sort of threat from any enemies at the moment. Ah, he wins Cure from the battlefield he was just in. It had the fan quit. I do not know which one that is. I should. I believe it's the one just north of the Libra Temple. Typhoon goes to the level forest, gets some seeds from the old man, and now goes to check. Oh, that is actually important information that was just skipped over there. The Sky Coin. The Sky Coin opens the Sky Door, just like the rest of the coins. And the way we will be getting the Sky Coin today is by saving the crystals. That means we have to defeat Pazuzu, the Dual Head Hydra, Flamerous Rex, and the Ice Golem. Yes, that is correct. I am not confusing the Dual Head Hydra with the Twin Head Wyvern, sorry. They're just so similar in concept. And they have to be. They're palette swaps, but... Anyways. Ultima is now taking on the Snowprat. If I recall correctly, which I don't, thank you, Senso, for being such a good tracker. The Falls Basin Noble Armor is in the Falls Basin, as is the River Coin. Moving to the Life Temple, which does have an important item, the Moon Helmet. Unfortunately, equipment items in this game, the bonuses from them do not stack. The Apollo Helm completely replaces the steel helm and the moon helm. So if you collect the moon helm after you already have the Apollo helm, it's worthless. Ultima now finding the Thunder Rock. I believe Typhoon is in the lead at the moment. I do not recall Ultima being around the Wintry Cave, which may make sense considering it is in the Fire Continent. I haven't been paying the most attention. I'm sorry. Of course, we do have more than just these two runners playing today. We have, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 runners in this race. It's just that Ultima and Typhoon are the only ones who we're currently looking at. I don't know if they volunteered to be on stream or if they were just chosen. I don't imagine that... Oh, Gaia's armor in the chest in the vendor's house in Aquaria. On Typhoon's side. I don't imagine that we would put people on stream that didn't want to be there. So they must have volunteered. Ultima now rooting around in the Doom Castle. We do always have access to the second basement of Doom Castle if the shortcut is turned on. And along with that, we also have this row of skeleton corpses. I was about to say something silly, skeleton corpses. This row of bones that you can travel across to get to a cliffside, and you can jump across the cliffs, jump over the hooks, to get to the Sky Coin door, in front of which there are 4 chests. Ultima did manage to find the River Coin. Sorry, I mentioned that, and completely forgot. But Ultima is now in the Fire Continent. Finding the magic mirror in the Level Forest. While Typhoon is back at the Lava Dome, perhaps thinking that it's about time to fight the dual-head Hydra. It is unfortunate that the Minotaur is one of the quests, because, well, the Tree Withers can be hard to find after a while, and then you have to go to Foresta, which I don't recall exactly where Foresta is, but you have to go there, and then make it all the way back to the Level Forest, which is sometimes a pain in the ass. Sorry, pain in the butt. Ultima gets the Gaia armor. Why don't I explain the Gaia armor? The Gaia armor, in addition to the Noble Armor's resistances, also resists poison and sleep. And as both of our on-screen runners have all of the Tier 3 armors in the game, that means they resist everything. All possible status effects that Benjamin can resist, and all possible elements that Benjamin can resist, he does. And Sid. We're not leaving Sid out here. But Sid is, in essence, another Benjamin. Neither of our runners has a claw yet, and that is getting to be a problem. I was excited there for a moment. Oh, spoke too soon. Ultima finds the cat claw in the giant tree. Needed an axe to get there, but that opens up a lot, actually. That opens up climbing on walls. The Dragon Claw, the Tier 3 claw, is the only point of logic other than the two crests and perhaps the Wakewater that is remaining, locking any other overworld locations. Important overworld locations. I shouldn't say any locations. It does look like Typhoon is going to go try to fight the dual head Hydra. At level 13 with a 23 Tristan. He might be successful. I have faith. Of course, I place blind faith in everyone for everything, so that doesn't say much. But I can see it working. Ultima, meanwhile, is deciding to go to the Ice Pyramid for his first crystal. And with Flare against the Ice Golem, it's gonna be a cakewalk. It doesn't matter what level either of your partners are, it's gonna be a cakewalk. Flare is just that powerful. And the Ice Golem is weak to the Fire element. Why don't I do my standard and talk about some damage formulas? Let me pull up the damage formulas for Black. Sorry. Both Black and Wizard Red. We have your magic stat multiplied by 4. What is... divided by the amount of targets, minus the target's magic stat, multiplied by 3. And I believe there's a plus the magic that you're using is power somewhere. But it's a very wide formula on a very thin view window. So I cannot say for sure without pulling my attention away from the stream for a little bit too long. Because Ultima has just made it to the Ice Golem and is about to win in at most 2 turns. Two casts of Flare and it's done. There is also an important item behind the Ice Golem. Why don't we find out what it is together? It's the Tree Wither. I was talking about that just a little earlier as well. It looks like Tristan has Exit 2. Forza is fortunately in the Earth continent, and Kaylee is just standing there. Unfortunate. Nobody talks to Kaylee. Nobody will talk to Kaylee this seed. Except for me. You all know why. So Kaylee's mom will be going to the level forest. She will show up here, do the cutscene that normally Kaylee would in vanilla, talk about the void a little bit, and the Minotaur will turn up and instantly die. In the vanilla game, the Minotaur is weak to the life spell. This is not necessarily because life is supposed to work on the living as an instant death spell. That's a bug. This game has a lot of bugs. It is because the damage formula for life actually takes into account the level of the enemy and the level of the person who casts it. The Minotaur's level is 2 or lower, I'm sure. I do not have that number written down. I may need to do that in the near future. But when Kaylee casts it in vanilla at level 3, the Minotaur dies. Typhoon now making his way through the Ice Pyramid. With the Magic Mirror, he knows exactly where all the enemies are now, and if there's some in his way, he will have to take them out. But with the Charm Claw, that gives a +5 bonus to his magic stat while he has it equipped. And with the Flare spell, he doesn't even need that bonus. Typhoon taking a moment to duplicate some seeds. As I said previously, if you use a consumable item with Benjamin and run away from the battle immediately without locking in your partner's action, that duplicates the consumable item that you tried to use. Typhoon trying to remember his location in the dungeon. Did he go to the right on floor 3 to open the door? Survey says yes. Both Typhoon and Ultima are making their way through their respective dungeons, just blasting through anything in their path. Where was the Charm Claw? That is the Charm Claw was behind the dual head Hydra. Interesting. That actually raises a point of divergence. If one of our other runners had chosen to fight the Hydra and was successful in defeating it, they may have gained the Charm Claw before the Cat Claw. But Ultima is now going to heal himself up before fighting the dual head Hydra. Ultima got a third quest done at some point. Was it the Minotaur? It was the Minotaur. And it's level 34, not 32, like I said earlier. I'm terribly sorry. Typhoon has almost made his way up to the Ice Golem, and will similarly take it down in 2 turns with 2 castings of Flare. What Tristram does is irrelevant. Just as irrelevant as what's in those 2 chests. Unfortunate. Typhoon not jumping across the way to the Ice Golem, instead choosing to walk the winding path, and accidentally holds down the right key just a little bit too long. We do have a 2 times speed hack implemented for the randomizer. That means Benjamin walks at twice the speed he does in the vanilla game. This causes some problems sometimes, especially on narrow paths. So, going over our equipment and levels. The armor is the same across both runs. The weapons are essentially the same across both runs because nobody's attacking with a claw. Are you being serious? And all claws give you that +5 magic bonus. Both runners have saved 2 crystals. They need to go to the Bone Dungeon and Pazuzu's Tower. However, they cannot clear Pazuzu's Tower without the Dragon Claw, so they need to find the Dragon Claw first before going to Tower. Bone Dungeon they can do immediately. All they need for that is the bombs. In fact, I would dare say that Ultima is in the lead now, despite them both having 2 crystals. It really makes you wonder, who's going to come out on top? To be honest, it's anyone's game. Ultima did find Exit, the book, so now Benjamin can cast it, but unfortunately that's not quite relevant because Tristan could already cast it and he's stuck with us, or we're stuck with him. We also find the Captain's Cap in the Bone Dungeon. The Captain's Cap allows us to pilot the ship. We can commandeer Mac's ship and take it across the sea to, well, the Doom Castle, which we already have access to. But commandeering that ship means we can no longer use it as a grind tile. Because Mac's ship is guaranteed to be in the Wind Continent, it is also guaranteed to have some of the toughest enemies in the game. We find the gas mask and the magic ring. Magic ring, unfortunately, is irrelevant just like the moon helmet was previously. The gas mask, however, will allow us to see the enemies in the ashy parts of the volcano. Our tracker did make a good point a few minutes ago about the flags. If you don't know what the flags are, then you don't know what game you're playing. Randomizers are just like that. If you don't know that certain checks have been excluded from importance, then you're going to check. You're going to look at those checks. You're going to see what's there, and you're going to be disappointed. Typhoon pulling up to the Squidite. I believe this one is incentivized. Because Squidite is a boss, and though bosses are NPCs, they're not considered as such by the logic. We do see the Jumbo Bomb, which unfortunately is irrelevant. The same way the Moon Helmet and the Magic Ring were. Ultima is fighting the Jin. Jin is resistant to fire, that's why Ultima is using Meteor, which I do not remember where Meteor came from. Meteor. I don't think we have it listed in... That's perfectly fine. Meteor was somewhere. Ultima has it now, that's what's important. Typhoon, unfortunately, not realizing that rests are not shuffled. Which loops back to the point that I just made. You don't know the flags, you don't know what game you're playing. You're gonna check things that you probably shouldn't. But that's part of learning the game. That's game knowledge, and everyone will need to obtain it at some point. Sometimes people just play a randomizer without playing the original game and learning it to a frankly absurd level. And that's perfectly fine. In fact, that's expected. But when you do have the game knowledge at that absurd level, then you win the races. And both of our runners are amazing players. I do not mean to diss either of them. Both of them are getting things done at lower levels than I possibly could. And with Tristan, nonetheless, Tristan... Oh. Tristan's terrible, to my recollection. Why don't we go into Tristan's Shuriken? Tristan's Shuriken. Let me get them pulled up here. Excuse me. They inflict poison and paralysis, the same as the cat claw. They give Tristan 40 points in attack, which I believe gets halved to 20 by the damage formula for attacking. Players, sorry. And their shoot element. And that's it. Tristan's weapons are dog water. And he can run out of them. Meanwhile, Typhoon finds Excalibur in the mine. I believe Ultima already has Excalibur. I do not recall correctly. Or exactly, rather. We will find out the next time he switches. Across the swords, I believe. He does indeed have Excalibur. And he is deciding that it is time for Maduka to be Maguka. Or in other words, Medusa to die. Typhoon deciding wisely to not cast Quake. Let me say again, Quake is the worst spell in the game. If I recall correctly, it has a spell power of 225. The lowest of any spell. Be it black, wizard, doesn't matter. Of course, in my cheat sheet, which is built in RPG Maker, I am using a variable for that, so I cannot be absolutely sure about it. I need to open up another one of these scripts, and I should be paying attention to stream. For example, Typhoon just saved Ari. Save blood. And it does not want to talk to Ruben because I think he has grokked by now that NPCs are excluded. Is he going to free the ship? He's going to Windia. As Ultima makes his way through the Fire Continent once again. Typhoon does not have the Gemini crest, he only has the Libra crest. He only has the Libra crest. Ultima is... I believe he cast Exit twice. I should note how Exit works in the randomizer. Normally, in Mystic Quest, you can cast Exit while you're in any map to make it all the way back to the overworld. In the randomizer only, while you're on the overworld, you can cast Exit. Not necessarily again, but you can cast Exit, and you'll be sent all the way back to the beginning of the game, the original location of the level forest. Both of our runners are high-fiving with Arian's friend. Unfortunately, Typhoon has not caught on to the lack of a crest shuffle yet. And Ultima buys some more seeds from the vendor in Firebird. He did talk to her? Ah, my apologies, Senso. Regardless, the runners are looking only for the Dragonclaw now. They don't need to teleport anywhere. All they care about is the Dragonclaw. The Dragonclaw itself is a grappling hook. I believe it travels about 7-ish tiles? Though I don't recall exactly. That sounds right, though. Ultima not choosing to check what's in the back of Spencer's cave. Spencer's place. The Libra Crest will allow that. Typhoon is choosing to make Madoka be Maguka. No, Typhoon is going up the wrong side of the volcano for that. But I believe that was the intent, which is why he's going back down the volcano and not casting Exit. Ultima checking the chests in the first floor of the giant tree once again. But no, he doesn't have the Dragonclaw, and he's already been here. It's not there. It's not down here either. Why don't we check in with the race time? Checking in with the race time room. Nobody has finished yet. That is the only information we can glean from. All the runners are still in it to win it. And Madoka is Maguka, earning us the life book. Earning Typhoon the life book. Typhoon now choosing to dive Mount Gale, but he's going to find some trouble here because Mount Gale requires the Dragonclaw to get much of anything aside from that one chest that he passed by just now. which was brown. It is my opinion that the Dragon Claw is probably in Spencer's place. Reason being, if we go back to the flags, we have original chests prioritized. That means all the locations in the vanilla game that originally had items the randomizer considers important. If it was a box on the overworld, then it's going to be considered important in the sea. Typhoon is milling about. He's going in Spencer's place. He's throwing the Mega Grenade. Will he take the Libra Crest Warp? Get some refreshers, some cure potions, sees the brown box, decides not to bother, opens up the way to the Libra Crest, takes the warp, and is going to be disappointed when he finds out he cannot blow the wall out from inside the cave, because when Benjamin is not visible to the player, he cannot use his weapons. He will have to travel through the river and climb up onto that tiny ledge that he saw there to throw a Mega Grenade at the wall there to even see if it's an important item. Which it probably will be. And if it's not, well, I'm not going to say I'll do anything, because then I'd have to do it. It is an important item. Which item is it? It's the Dragon Claw! I called it! Typhoon, now on his way to Pazuzu's tower. No, on his way to the Alive Forest. I'm not sure why. We will all find out together. He wants to defeat Ghidra. That's why he's here. He didn't even get the Cat Claw. He just went to Dual Head and took him out, then got the Charm Claw from there. These are Earth Continent enemies. He could just throw grenades, and they would all instantly die. He doesn't need to cast Flare. What are you doing? I'm sorry. I shouldn't be like this. To get through the giant tree, the items you need are everything but bombs. You need any sword, you need any axe, you need the Dragon Claw, and that's it. Our Dragon Claw was just a little weak. Ultima, making his way to the top of the ice pyramid and finding that he has already collected all the items in here that are relevant. But as he does not know where he could possibly have missed something, he will still check. Of course, we in the commentary booth, the stream booth rather, we know that Spencer's place has the Dragon Claw. Ultima does not know this. Ultima has no way of knowing this other than the flag set. And by looking at the flag set, he could glean the implication that it might be in Spencer's place. And that's a very likely place for it to be. In fact, I think that's where he's going now. Yes, my friends, it does look like he's going to Spencer's place. Gidra, meanwhile, what script does Gidra have? I thought I saw a drain room. Sucker stick, that looks like Banquet? Or Squidite? Electropulse? Yeah, definitely one of the two squids. Oh, Ultima, you've turned around. Ultima, no. Turn back. Ultima, I'm sorry. It's not that way. Ultima's thinking, hold on a moment. What if it's in this no, that's Bremen. You know what Ultima hasn't checked? Ultima hasn't checked the 4 chests in front of the Sky Coin door. To my recollection. He may have paid attention to them as he passed by in the main section of the Focus Tower. He's checking the rope bridge. I don't mean to sound so incredulous. He's checking the rope bridge. He was here in the beginning of the game. Typhoon has defeated Gidra and completed the final quest and leveled Tristram up to his final form. His 5th state at level 41 with all the spells he could possibly ever have. Where... Pazuzu's Tower is over here, right? Pazuzu's Tower is in the Fire Continent, and as such will have Fire Continent enemies inside. Like regular ninjas, mummies... Sorry, zombies, not mummies. Right? I'm not sure. Regular gargoyles, hot wings, not the second tier of mages. So, Typhoon will have to find Pazuzu. And Typhoon will also have to stop the elevator that Pazuzu is on from traveling from floor to floor by hitting the locks on the even-numbered floors of Pazuzu's tower with his axe. That means that Pazuzu's tower requires any bomb, the Dragon Claw, and any axe. Logically. So, to sum up the logical requirements for Go mode in a Save the Crystal Seed, with the Doom Castle shortcut turned on, we have a sword, an axe, mega grenades, possibly? No, I don't think so. You don't necessarily need the mega grenades to defeat dual head Hydra in Lava Dome. You just need regular bombs for the Ice Pyramid, and Pazuzu's Tower, and the Bone Bench. All the other three. So any bomb, any axe, any sword, and the Dragon Claw. Everything else is helpful. Also, you need overworld access to each of the 4 dungeons. Everything else is helpful, but not strictly necessary. Helpful is doing a lot of heavy lifting, though. Because that includes all of the armor for Benjamin. There we go, that's the switch on the 6th floor hit. So now, if the elevator cannot pass by the 6th floor at all, that is locked in place. I did not see where Pazuzu was. He is apparently not on either the 6th or the 5th floor. If he was on the 1st floor, then you would only need to hit the lock on the 2nd. Typhoon finds the charm in Pazuzu's tower. Unfortunately, the charm is useless, as he already has the Cupid lock. The only reason I can think of to continue opening red chests at the moment, for Typhoon, would be to find the Wake Water. There is Pazuzu on the 2nd floor. So Typhoon will most likely get this lock, then go fight Pazuzu immediately. I believe he hit the lock on the 4th floor as well. He's got 17 seeds, entirely too many. Yes, you did hit the lock. Remember, these are Fire Continent enemies. However, that does not necessarily mean they're all resistant to fire. Does Tristram have flare? Tristram gets flare? What the heck? That is a quirk of how the dungeon works. Pazuzu does escape up 1 floor. If you lock the floor he's on, and it's just rude, you know? And now Typhoon is thinking, wait a second. So he went from the 2nd floor to somewhere else. I didn't see him on the 1st floor. He must be on the 3rd. Ah, looking back in the race room, I see that we do indeed. Sorry. I shouldn't be saying that. That's a spoiler. Well, I might as well finish. We do indeed have... No, I'm not going to finish it. I'm gonna wait until the runners on stream do the thing I was about to say. Ultima is in Aquarium while Typhoon fights Pazuzu. Pazuzu, if you're not aware, has a unique phase change mechanic. No, that's not quite correct. Has a unique mechanic. Some enemies in this game can reflect damaging magic back at you. These are the slimes. These are the beholders. And these are the jerk birds. Or, perhaps if they roll the right scripts, the bird boy band. Or attacks in regular attack, not script shuffle. Pazuzu, as you can see, is getting hit by attack magic. That is because Pazuzu can only reflect magic while the Psych Shield is up. He will pull his wings in front of him, as such, a few times to toggle on or off the Psych Shield. At the moment it's on, so our runners know if they cast any attacking magic at all on Pazuzu, they will die. Period. Pristum does have Flare. That is concerning, because it means Pristum is better than I thought it was. Typhoon gets his 4th crystal, and that means he has unlocked the Sky Coin door. By obtaining the Sky Coin in just a few moments, there it is. And the Venus Shield. But let's ignore the Venus Shield and go straight to the Doom Castle shortcut so that we can travel across the Bone Bridge in the Quicksand Pit to the Sky Coin door. Excuse me. What? Typhoon wanted to check this chest first. And for his trouble, he got the Thunder Orb. The weakest wizard orb in the game. The weakest wizard spell. They call it the Thunder Seal. I'm sorry. Typhoon is now making it across the Bone Bridge and choosing to use the Dragon Claw to cross the gaps. Ignoring the 4 brown chests and going to the first boss in the boss rush. If we had the original layout of the Doom Castle, Skullrus Rex would have been before the Sky Coin door. With the boss rush, he is after it. Skullrus is vulnerable to Petrification, the Life spell, and the Exit spell. Of course, the person casting the Life spell needs to be a high enough level. I believe 34 works in order to actually land the insta-kill. Next up is the Stone Golem. Ultima. I'm You're getting me excited. Excited and nervous. The stone golem is vulnerable only to exit. Ultima, checking further locations in Windia that he has already checked. Next up is the Twin-Head Wyvern. I said Wyvern previously, that is not the correct pronunciation. The Twin-Head Wyvern is resistant to fire, but not resistant to earth. So Meteor is the best spell you could cast on it. Typhoon does not know this. Typhoon is casting White, because White is the only attacking spell in the game that does not have an element associated with it. Meteor is an Earth element spell, because this is not a Final Fantasy game. This is a Romancing Saga game. And Ultima, like I mentioned previously, does not have the game knowledge, it looks like, to make it to the end of Spencer's Cave. Spencer's Place, I'm sorry. It is a cave, but the official name is Spencer's Place. So he's checking the entire rest of the overworld. Where have I not been? Where, oh, where has my little dog gone? I would start singing, but I don't believe that would be very kind. Enemies in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, all of them have multiple graphical phases that are dependent on how much health they have remaining. The main bosses that guard the crystals, and the refights, because they use the same graphics, and the Dark King, all have 4 phases. For the Dark King, it's not necessarily each phase at 25%, but for the rest of them, except for the birds, it should be 25%, to my recollection. The birds, because of Psych Shield, they use one of those 4 phases for the Psych Shield pose. So they technically only have 3 health phases. Mini-bosses, in a similar sense, Ghidra, the Chimera, Thanatos, the Minotaur, Minotaur Zombie, so on and so forth, they have 3 phases. They're all the same graphical size. I believe it's 48 pixels by 48 pixels. They all have 3 phases. And regular enemies all only have 2 phases. Regular enemies switch at half health, mini bosses switch at 1 2/3, and so on. Z is not resistant to fire. So if you cast Flare, it'll do as much damage as you possibly can. Also, Psych Shield is guaranteed to only last for 1 turn. So here Psych Shield is going up. By the way, toggling Psych Shield on has negative priority, meaning it will always happen at the end of the turn. And toggling Psych Shield off has positive priority, meaning it will usually happen at the start of the turn. You can be faster than this positive priority. This is not Pokemon. And with Tristram, the fastest character in the game, at maximum level, he's definitely faster than Psych Shield being toggled off. Here's Psych Shield being toggled on again. This turn is not counted as Psych Shield being on, because we need a turn for Psych Shield to actually be in effect, where it's a bad idea to cast an attacking spell. So Z leaves Psych Shield on, does a regular attack at his regular speed value, and now, with a higher speed value than normal, Psych Shield is toggled off. And I believe that was a critical hit. Congratulations, Tristram. You're getting yourself a better opinion in my eyes. Typhoon doing something that is completely necessary, and that is healing up before walking up to this statue. This statue that says Knights of Light. We crystals lend you our power. By lending us their power, they heal us back to full health and full magic. Typhoon opens the sea chest and saves his game and steps up to the Dark King, who has his vanilla script. This is the standard Dark King fight that we all, I assume, know and love. Or hate. Know and hate is also a possible opinion on that. It looks like the first quarter of the Dark King's health is a little bit thin. Not very bulky. How the Dark King works in the randomizer is, actually, bosses are supposed to have 100% scaling, both minimum and maximum. So wouldn't the Dark King's phases all have 10,000 health? I would have to confirm that with Wildman. Anyways, the Dark King in vanilla has 40,000 health, split into 10,000 health phases. Phases 1, 2, and 3 all have unique attack patterns, unique scripts. And Phase 4 has no script. If you somehow manage to skip from Phase 2 to Phase 4, then Phase 4 will be using the weapons from Phase 2. I also do not have the Dark King's stats in front of me, nor do I have them anywhere nearby. I apologize. But that doesn't matter, because none of the Dark King's attacks actually use his stats. None of them. They all do flat damage. Let's see what the next one is that the Dark King uses. Dark Saber. The Dark Saber, let me pull it up, does 115 multiplied by 8, which, if I pull my calculator out, is 920 damage minus its target's defense stat. We had Quake Axe. That's 70 multiplied by 8, which, if I pull my calculator out again, 70 times 8, 560 damage minus the target's defense stat. $873. That was Dark Saber. So let's find out exactly what Tristan's defense stat is. $115 times 8 minus, what was it? I completely forget. We have a custom sprite for the Dark King. This is a Prinny from Disgaea. Those can be scary. Those can be devastating. At least it's not Ringer X. If you don't know what this guy is all about, ignore me. Spider Kid's on Tristan. 817 damage. Spider Kid is 108 multiplied by 8. 108 times 8. Minus 817 is 47. Tristan's defense stat is exactly 47 points. Spider Kids does not have any element attached to it. And neither does Mega White. Excuse me. Most of the Dark King's attacks don't have an element attached to it. Oh, excuse me. The webs have status effects attached to them. But the laser is not a lightning element. Sorry, thunder element attack. It is not a wind element attack. It's not a water element attack. It's just flat damage. 120 multiplied by 8, by the way. And I believe the laser is the Dark King's most powerful attack. At 960 damage minus your defense. I am incorrect. Mega Flare is the most powerful attack that the Dark King has. Oh, we have hit the fourth phase of the Dark King Prinny. This is the phase that copies its previous phase's script. Alma continuing to search around, not realizing that he's on top of the cliff he should be inside. Tristan completes his quest line and hands some cure potions over to Benjamin. It is only a matter of time. Time and intelligent play on Typhoon's end, which I have no doubt Typhoon will play intelligent. Because Tristram is faster than the Dark King. And Typhoon doesn't have to worry about a single thing unless Tristram gets petrified. Oh no. Commentary curse, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. I understand that we have a stream delay. I believe the stream is somewhere around 10 minutes. I could be wrong. I believe the stream is somewhere around 10 minutes behind the actual runners. No. No. I am misunderstanding what's happening here. Did Ultima find the Drek? No, he didn't. He's... walking up to the Skycoin door and checking the chests in front of it. Refreshers, ninja stars, and heal potions. Good to know. Unfortunately not useful, but good to know. If I recall in the race room earlier, Ultima said that he had Emo Tracker going. I don't know whether a map tracker is legal for tournaments or not, but this is not a tournament. This is a casual streamed race. Oh, Ultima. Ultima. So, the same problem could indeed happen to Tristram again. Tristram could get petrified, and our Typhoon's level 19 Benjamin could be too slow to do anything about it. In fact, that is why Typhoon has equipped the Excalibur. Unfortunately, level 19 is indeed too slow to do anything about it, even with the 5-point speed bonus of the Excalibur. The Silver Web. I should tell you all what statuses the Silver Web inflicts. However, I only know for certain that it inflicts confusion and poison. The Golden Web is what we need to watch out for. The Golden Web petrifies. With 100% accuracy. Unless you are immune to petrification. Like Benjamin is. In fact, this is why I say Kaylee is Bailey. Because Kaylee has the Relica armor, which makes her immune to petrification. This is why I insist on using Kaylee as my partner. Because then I don't run into the problem that Typhoon ran into just a few minutes ago. Additionally, Kaylee comes with the Cure spell. At the moment, Typhoon is having to split his healing duties between Benjamin and Tristan. That doesn't happen with Kaylee. With Kaylee, you can just set her to automatic and let her take care of it. Typhoon making the right play, though. Casting life on your buddy with both characters. Having Ben do the damage, and Trista run damage control. Unfortunately, it's sometimes not enough. I should take a note. Make a note about debuff. I was about to say debug. Debuff attacks. Every debuff attack in the game does a flat 60 minus your defense damage. And the debuffs they inflict are permanent. Even if you die, they are permanent. Until and unless you use a refresher on the person who got debuffed. Or the battle ends. I do not know the precise... Did Ultima... Hold on a moment, let me... Ultima has indeed forfeited from the race. Which is unfortunate. It does look like Ultima is going to be joining us in the booth for a short while. Or perhaps a long while. Depending on how long Typhoon takes to, Hello! How are you doing, Ultima?
Slightly frustrated, but good scene nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a rough one, wasn't it?
The main thing that was catching me off guard here was the fact that for one, Dragon Claw in particular,
Mhm.
that was the one thing that was keeping me from completing the sea.
It was.
Because that
Go
will
on.
allow me to finish Pazuzu's tower and also get me into Ghidra to get Tristan to 41.
Mhm.
It's because I was running back and forth thinking, where is this stupid Dragon Claw? And when I checked the side of the live forest, which I missed that shit completely, I thought it was gonna be it, but then it's just an axe.
Mhm.
Ugh. This is a nasty sea. I'm gonna have to revisit it and try and see if I can do better on it.
Would you
Tomorrow.
like to know where the Dragon Claw was?
So I was thinking for a while, there has to be an exit trick or something, right? Because the only thing is though is that Witchery Temple was located over in Aquaria area, so
Mhm.
you could do that exit trick for sure. I don't know if there's any other exit tricks, but that's the only exit trick I can think of. And there's no way to get around to those chests in the tower because that's locked by wake water, which would have actually logically opened up for me somewhere. I want to think maybe that Dragon Claw was either in that chest and focus tower that's not locked by Venus Key, or it's on that blue battlefield. Because wake water would completely blow open the sea as well.
Would you like me to tell you where it was?
Go ahead.
It's in Spencer's place.
I was thinking that. But the thing is, you
You
can't.
didn't. You can. You didn't know how to get to the back of Spencer's place. You had the Lever Crest. The crests were not shuffled.
Right.
You have to go through the river. There's a climb. I think it's a staircase, but either way, you go down into the river from the north side, just north of Spencer, past the boxes.
Yeah, you do that. So you go in the
You,
river, and then
there's a climbable
crap.
wall, a single tile of climbable wall that you climb up and throw a mega grenade to the north across.
And that's how you open up the. Okay,
That
I
is
did
the
not know
vanilla
that.
location of the Mobius crest.
Yeah, Mobius would have opened this up as well. And like, I honestly did not know that thing because mine. I played the vanilla bit better, so I kinda didn't know that much. Yeah, I feel like I should have gone back and played the OG, because don't you do that in the OG, actually?
You do. Like I just said, it is the vanilla location of the Mobius crest. You do exactly that. You have the Dragon Claw by that point.
Yeah, you do. I just feel kind of stupid for that one. But
It's
again, knowledge
it's
check.
okay. I did make the point in commentary that it is not only all right, but expected for people to make these kinds of mistakes.
Okay.
So it doesn't speak negatively about you in any way. It just means that it's a learning point.
Yeah, I'll definitely remember this for next time I run my siege, because that was annoying to know that.
Another learning point that I mentioned a few times is the flags. You need to look at the flags every time you're not making them yourself. Because if
Yeah,
you don't know what the flags are, you don't know what game you're playing.
I'll be honest, I actually do know the flags. It's just I didn't know if something was different. I just, again, learning point, it's a knowledge
Right.
check.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll make sure to remember this for next time.
Were there any good points in the sea, do you think?
So I want to say the start of the scene was interesting because, first off, you start with Steel Sword. Steel Sword is not very strong until I think like around level 9 or so. And considering you're already going to the Aquaria area,
Right.
especially like down into I think Lava Dome and Ice Pyramid. I dove Ice Pyramid first because that tends to have a chunk of checks anyway and guaranteed chests. And I thought, oh, I picked up Flare. Maybe I can kill it, but then I forgot I don't have a claw.
We do have Typhoon finishing on stream with, I believe... Let me check the race room.
Almost 2 hours.
Racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 55 seconds. And he came... Hello there, Typhoon. How do you feel about your 6th place finish?
Not
first
too
on
bad.
stream.
First time on stream, yeah. Glad I got there in the end. I was pretty determined. Died to Dark King there 3 times. First one hurt a bit because it was right at the end. Must have been one more wide or flare I would have got him, but you get that. That Dragon Claw was really hard to find. Lucky I checked Spencer's place when I did. A bit because it was right at the end. Must have been
There's a knowledge check. Me and Ultimo were talking about that actually.
Claw was really hard to find. Lucky I checked Spencer's place when I did. Yeah, there were lots of weird checks in this seed. It was really interesting how it rolled out. I was kind of lost there in the 45-minute hour mark.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So I'd cleared a whole heap of stuff. I was looking for Wake Water, Mega Grenades, and just any type of claw that I could get my hands on. I couldn't do the mine. I couldn't do much, so I had to just fancy around and try like the really small checks where I could. I really should have, like in hindsight, I should have gone into the tree and grabbed the chest there. That would have given me the cat claw.
It would have. You decided to go to dual head first, didn't you?
No, I didn't do dual head at all.
Sorry, what I meant by that was dual head before finding the cat claw.
Oh, yeah.
What was your thought process there? Just that Lava Dome is easy. It doesn't need the claw?
Yeah, it doesn't need the claw, which I didn't know until a couple of weeks ago. I just kind of went into there in a different seed to just get something out of it. And then I realized it doesn't even need the claw. So I just went through, slapped the Wyvern, got through there. And yeah, I can't remember what I exactly got from Lava Dome. I don't think it was much though. Or was it the Charm Claw?
It was the Charm Claw.
It was the Charm Claw. So yeah, that was the saving grace. I think I left that till last because it's such a long walk. To go through the entire thing without a claw. But got there in the end, so and once I had the Charm Claw, I just sort of clawed away at different little things because I really, really needed the Dragon Claw more than anything.
Right. Was there any part of the seed that you didn't like? Just anything that stood out?
No, it was a pretty good seed. I expected some crest shenanigans to have to be warping around here and there to try and get into some treasure chests that we might have needed, but other than that, it was pretty good, pretty challenging.
Yeah, there really wasn't much of anything to do with the crest this time.
Yeah, I only picked up the Gemini crest, Libra crest, I think it was, and I didn't even use it.
Right.
Picked up Mobius crest later in the castle, I think, and that was about it.
You did use the the Libra Crest at least once.
I did, and I didn't get anything from it.
No,
From
you
what I
did. You got
remember.
the Dragonflaw. It's in Spencer's place.
Oh, that's right. It was from Spencer's place. Okay. Because, yeah, I went around the long way because I didn't have the Mobius crest at the time.
Right. And you never did find the Mobius Crest. I wonder if anyone did.
You know,
Yeah, not sure.
you know where I think it probably is. It's
Where do you
probably
think it is?
it's probably either on that blue battlefield or in the Wakewater area, or it's on it's on the chest and focus tower, because those are only two other checks aside from a live forest and the tree past the dragon claw check there. And also Paz's tower, which
Typhoon did climb tree, and it wasn't up there.
okay. Then
Yeah.
did you check the Ghidra check there as guaranteed though?
No, I didn't check the Ghidra check. I just went up the tree just to level Tristram up.
Okay, yeah, that's
So I
usually how
quickly
you go.
speedran. Yeah, speedran Ghidra and then just went straight to DK.
Yeah, because by that point we've already got all our books. We've got Aegis Shield, Cupid Locket for status, and we don't have to worry about too much at that point.
I believe Pazuzu was already dead even at that time.
I mean, yeah, you would rush Pazuzu first, just get Crystal out of the way and get Tristan 41, because Tristan does not do a whole lot without his flare.
He really doesn't.
He did not have much until you got him up to that last level.
Yeah. He's like almost tied with Ruben for one of the worst partners here.
And that's why I always say Kaylee is Bailey. Because she resists petrification.
Kaylee is great on DK, but Phoebe, when you get Phoebe though, she can blaze through a sea just by having her there.
Oh, definitely. Phoebe can absolutely blaze through everything because she has the strongest magic stat in the game. However, she is still vulnerable to petrification, and that means that Dark King is not guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah, petrification immunity would have been really, really good for my DK fights just now. That was killing me.
Was DK3 giving you a lot of trouble, Typhoon?
Mostly DK, yeah, DK3 and 4. I died on DK4 first, right near the end. He must have only been one spell away.
I mean, DK3 is usually rough just because he loves his script. And this is why I named my bin Defend, because there is only one thing you can do at DK3. You can only defend if your partner does not have petrification immunity.
I would like to mention that Attacks did finish first.
Yeah.
And congratulations go out to him with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Yeah, he absolutely killed it. I had it on my other monitor and saw it when he finished. I was like, oh wow. I got to get a move on.
Yeah, congrats to him. I probably would have gone a lot faster if I knew about that thing in Spencer's, but again, I'll do better next scene.
All we can do is learn, right? Learn
That's
it
right.
better next time. In fact, I would argue that you two have benefited the most from this seed. Because you two either didn't finish or finished last.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I shouldn't say last. Dinonaut is still going. But we do have 3 DNFs. I'm going to say Fried Dough and not read his entire name. I'm sure he'll understand. And X10 Power.
Yeah, I hope Fried Dough gets better. He wasn't feeling too well.
I hope so as well. Are there any other closing thoughts that either of you have?
Yeah, some more seeds that we get flare in the first like 10 minutes. That's awesome.
You know what I'd rather like to see? I'd like to see us try and deal with, why don't we deal with just chucking bombs for the first few areas? See where that gets us, considering bomb management is something that is not in the back of our minds here.
I'm too used to Archipelago. I don't have to manage bombs at all there.
Exactly.
Well, thanks both for being here. Thank you for your wonderful insights.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
I think that's going to do it for us, though.
All
No
right.
worries.
let's-
Have a very lovely day. It was a great, very fun run. I'll catch you guys later.
I appreciate having the chance to be able to do this, and I think I'm going to be sticking around for a while to do some more of this as well.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Both,
Thank you.
I
Bye.
should say. Have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring us out. So, this has been the Mystic Quest Randomizer. I've been Giga. We've had Sense of Kairu on tracking. We've had Wildham restreaming for us. And Wildham is also the developer, so we give thanks to him every day. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you again later.